Moscow says the Sputnik vaccine will be tested on at least 40,000 people across 5 countries starting next week. The goal is to meet international phase 3 clinical standards, though it's already been registered for use before that phase 3. Russian officials also spoke to the vaccine's safety, saying it uses a delivery system similar to vaccines already internationally approved for other viruses. Let's bring in our senior medical correspondent, Elizabeth Cohen, from Atlanta with more. So what do experts and epidemiologists say about what Russia is essentially touting as a safe vaccine that's entering a crucial trial phase here?
Hala, I'm going to give you the very short response from Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who is the former commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. He said, I wouldn't take it. I think that says it all. Every single expert who's talked about this publicly has said, don't put that in me. They haven't truly tested it. In Russia, they seem to be doing things a little bit differently than is done in the U.S. and in Europe. In the U.S. and Europe, you test it out first in tens of thousands of people to see if it's safe and effective. You don't put it on the market and then do that kind of testing. What's the point of the testing if you've already put it on the market? You're not protecting your citizens if you put it on the market and then do large-scale testing. It just doesn't make sense. I would not roll up my sleeves for it.
So what about what they're arguing is it's safe to take. So basically, why not take it? The funding. The funder of the effort was on CNN last hour saying, well, I've taken it, my parents have taken it, my kids as well, and then we do the trial later. I mean, I guess their point is, what have you got to lose?
You got a lot to lose. You've got that, sorry, I just have to laugh because this is what Americans and Russians have been dealing with when you listen to Putin or you listen to Trump, is that they say, believe me, just trust me, it's great. That's what Trump said about hydroxychloroquine. And you know what? Studies show that hydroxychloroquine hurts some people. There is a reason that we test things first. First of all, they say, Putin, etc., say that it's safe. How do we know that? Are we just supposed to trust them? If I told you I'd give you $1 million, Hala, would you believe me? Would you trust me? Of course you wouldn't. You would want to see that I had $1 million in the bank first. So when the Russians say, trust us, it's safe, what the scientific response is, where's the data? Show us the data that it's safe. And they haven't done the study in tens of thousands of people, so they don't know that it's safe. Maybe they've done it in a couple dozen people or maybe a couple of hundred people, and they found that it was safe. If that's true, where's the data? Show me the data, show me the study, show me the numbers, and not just any numbers, but numbers that have actually been peer-reviewed by outside scientists. They haven't shown us anything. All they've said is, trust me, it looks good. Let's talk a little bit about what challenge trials are. The way the trials are being done now, these are not challenge trials. Right now, we're recruiting people to come in to get an injection, and then they go live their lives, and maybe they run into the virus in their daily life, and maybe they don't. In a challenge trial, you do something very different. What you do is you vaccinate someone with an experimental vaccine, and then you intentionally put the virus into their nose, and that way you see if the vaccine works. Obviously, it's a very direct way of doing that. There have been a few voices calling for challenge trials in the United States, but frankly, not that many. And the National Institutes of Health has made it very clear that we are not doing challenge trials in the United States. But here's the news. The NIH is doing a contract with a company to make a strain of the virus that could be used in challenge trials. Dr. Fauci tells me that this is a preliminary, very contingency plan. He does not think we're ever going to use this. He does not think we're ever going to do challenge trials. But he said, look, there's been a lot of pressure to be prepared for these trials. So why not create a strain, stick it in the freezer? We don't think we're ever going to need it.
A possible breakthrough in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, the FDA granting emergency use authorization for a saliva test.
It doesn't need the same reagents and swabs that have been the rate-limiting step to being able to create testing at scale in this country. It really could be a game changer if we can deploy it.
Officials say results can be determined in under 3 hours, and tests are expected to cost about $10 per sample.
I think it will take weeks, if not longer, for this test to become more widely available, but as it comes online, I think people will like it much better than the more intrusive nasal swab test.
The National Basketball Association helped to fund the development of this test and uses it to test for non-symptomatic carriers. This FDA announcement comes as the U.S. death toll for known COVID-19 cases passes 170,000, according to Johns Hopkins University.
This virus is still spreading widely in the communities. It's not under control yet over most of the United States, I'm afraid.
And while no new cases of COVID-19 are trending down, some say more still needs to be done.
We've really underinvested in public health for decades now and continued to do so during this entire period and haven't done the work necessary to contain the virus.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.